Welcome to Envy's Donut, a podcast about everything, anything, and nothing in between. Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode. Our guest tonight is Boleslaw. How are you tonight, Boleslaw?
I'm absolutely fine. Thank you very much for asking. Yeah.
Well, tell us a bit about yourself. We don't know each other, so this is the first time we are talking. So I'm curious to find out some more.
By the trade, I'm the pharmacist. I finished university in Krakow. I did another master degree at university in Bradford. I did the drug discovery. That would be probably from the perspective of science, or I would say from my university background. I started as well some independent prescribing at the University of Sheffield. However, due to the pandemic, I kind of I've done all of my exams, but I didn't finish my practice, with the GP surgery. And from the perspective, I've been working as a pharmacist in two countries. Then at the beginning in Poland, and afterwards I got a job in UK. Then I've been working in UK for quite a while as a pharmacist, in few different companies,
Yeah, so how did you end up in the UK?
It was the time when Poland joined EU, and a few years after, I believe in that time it was a shortage of the pharmacies in the UK, and few different companies like Boots, they were looking for employees, and they were doing interviews in Warsaw in Poland. I went for one of these interviews, and they offered me the job in Yorkshire, and I took it. Then I thought in that time I'll probably go for a year or 2 years to UK just to see how is the pharmacy there. That was my main thing probably.
Yeah, that's great. So are you still in the UK now?
Now at the moment I'm actually in Poland. I'm visiting family, and I will be probably in UK in 2 weeks time. I probably that would be quite surprising for someone. I'm between the countries most of the time. Yeah, I'm a little bit in UK, but sometimes I've got now a business in Poland which is connected with medical devices. Then most of my work from Poland I'm actually doing online, but once upon a time I need to be somewhere in Poland or somewhere in Europe, on the meetings.
Yeah, that's unusual. I mean, you're basically commuting between two countries.
I think it is unusual, but if you think from the perspective of Britain as a country in the past, then the people were going to India, they're still going, I don't know, to South Africa, they're going to the few different countries, like, I don't know, even the engineers, they're going to Dubai, they're living there, they're building something, they're coming back, then they're moving forwards. Then I know probably for this job as a pharmacist is a little bit unusual, but I still quite enjoy being a pharmacist. But I quite like entrepreneurial thing, and I always enjoy doing something extra. Then a few years back, I started a company with a few friends, and because I've got some medical background in the sense of the pharmacy, we quite like these topics. And I don't know how we wanted always to work with the pharmacists, but we started with the medical devices, and that's something what we're doing.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's very interesting. So how is that working for you? I mean, do you have family there? Do you?
Yeah, I've got a family, I've got a wife, I've got a kid, and then that's my closest family. I still got my parents who lives in a small town outside of Krakow in Poland. Then probably in both countries, like in England and in Poland, I've got friends. Then always I try to visit them. For example, I was visiting some friends close by to the Ukraine and all the conflict now. Then I was actually visiting some friends who took refugees from Ukraine. Then we kind of talk about the whole situation, what's happening over there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. True. How is the situation in Poland?
I think it's stable now. Yeah, I think it's stable now. It was a little bit of panic at the beginning. It's a quite big influx of the people from Ukraine. I think it's up to today it will be around 2.5 million people went from Ukraine to Poland. Then some of them, probably most of them, they staying for now in Poland, and it's quite a lot of people who took the to Ukrainian families. Some of them they moving to another countries. Well, most of these people they really want to go back, but the problem is when you can go back, because we don't know when the war would end. That's the problem. Yeah.
Were you directly involved with any of the refugees?
I was helping friends. We took the refugees from the Polish-Ukrainian border, and they staying in my friend's house now, and they allocated as well with their neighbors. Actually, yeah, I talked today with some Ukrainian girl. She was telling me the story that at the beginning, for example, her mother, she didn't want to leave Ukraine because they lived in the village not far from Kiev, from the capital, and they thought that they would be safe because probably they would be only attacked like a big cities like Kiev. But when they heard the bombs and the shelling, then the mother decided, oh yeah, that's the time to leave. But when they decided to leave, it was quite hard to get out of the small village. But they got somehow to Kiev, and from Kiev by train to Lviv. In Lviv, a couple of days they stay, and afterwards they moved to the Polish border, and from the Polish border, friends took them to their houses. Yeah, but yeah, quite. I think when I talked with her, it was probably hard for her to talk about that, but I didn't meet her. But in a neighbor's house is another girl with the two kids, and she's just crying all the time, like because yeah, it's quite hard. Even if you are in a safe house, you still like have got like a psychological issues because of the whole situation. And those guys, she explained me that this village has been overtaken recently. Then they quite glad that they left.
Yeah, I was thinking Romania has border with Ukraine as well, but I've noticed that a lot of Ukrainians went to Poland. Why is that? Is it because of the language or because of the relatives or?
Well, I'm not the expert in this issue, but I would think from the geographical point of view, probably is quite safe place the West Ukraine, which the big city is Lviv. And from Lviv is a quite good connection to Polish border, because I think it's around 80 or 100 kilometers only. And before the war, we had probably around 1 million Ukrainians living in Poland. Then probably if you've got someone who already live in Poland, then you think, oh, you've got some relatives and you can go there. Or for example, I've got a friend, she's married to the Ukrainian guys. They live in Gdańsk, in the north of Poland, next to the Baltic Sea, and they took hold the family of the guy to their flat. And for them, that was quite natural because the guy already been living in Poland for quite a while. Then yeah, that's probably one of the reasons the close by. And I think if I'm quite, because I've been last summer in Romania in the mountains, I think the Ukraine with the Romania is quite a lot of mountains. Then it's probably not the best road, to cross the border. Then in this sense, probably from Lviv to Przemyśl and Rzeszów is a little bit better connection. You got the trains. And I remember when I was, I think, in Maramuresh mountains, then we could see the mountains of Ukraine, but it is not easy to cross the border. But maybe I'm wrong on this topic, yeah. But that's my thinking, yeah, a little bit.
It could be geography as well. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, you might be right. Right. Let's go back to you now. So, how did you end up doing pharmacy in the first place?
I don't have any background. Any members of my family, they never done any pharmacy. I think in the secondary school it was that I quite like biology and I quite like chemistry. And yeah, and I thought, what can I do liking those two things? Then one of the things, it was a pharmacy, and I spoke with a friend of mine whose mother is a pharmacist, and he told me about how this career could go further. Then yeah, I went for exam to be enrolled for the pharmacy school. That was the way. But my understanding in that time of the pharmacy, it was because you've got like a one point of the being a pharmacist to work in the pharmacy in the community or hospital environment. But for me, I was always interested as well a little bit about the industrial pharmacy. Then but yeah, at the end, I ended up doing the pharmacy like a 5 years and a half, because that's the course in Poland. Then you've got like a 5 years and a half year of the pre-reg. And after 2 or 3 years, when the time came and there came like this offer from Boots, I thought maybe it's good to try something new. I think every 2 or 3 or maybe every 5 years I like trying something new. Then I'm not saying I'm getting bored, but I like a little bit of challenge. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. That's why I'm doing this podcast. Were you married back then when you decided to leave?
No, 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 I left as a single. But yeah, afterwards, actually, I studied with my future wife at the same university. I think from the position of leaving the country and going from one country to another to starting a new job, when I was thinking about it, and once I spoke in New York with another pharmacist from Spain, we talked about that, and I think we had similar experience that we both had Erasmus exchange during the uni years. For me, I studied for a half a year in Spain. For this guy, he studied in Italy. And we kind of concluded that if someone had experience of living abroad, being a student or whatever, then it's definitely easier to decide, let's move to another country, let's try something new. And these experiences living abroad and doing like a daily task in a foreign language, I was living in Madrid. In that time, it was hard to even buy the ticket for metro without knowing the Spanish. Then yeah, I think that was kind of like a way forward in the sense when the proposals came from Boots to just choose something different. Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't a hard decision for you to embark in this new adventure, basically.
Yeah, that's true. It was a step by step, I would say. It wasn't like that. Oh yeah, I lived in one small town or one city and I never been abroad or living abroad, and suddenly I decided going to England. It was more like that I traveled before and I lived abroad before. Then yeah, it was just like but definitely new experience. Yeah, because it's completely different when you just studying. You at university, you maybe have some fun. You're going for some lectures. But here, when you've got the job, you need to behave and you need to work as a professional. Is definitely different. Yeah, to this experience from the students year.
Yeah, definitely. What was the worst episode that you've experienced in your life?
I think there was episode. I've been after the uni. I've been in the hospital myself for a couple of weeks. I had small accident, and that was kind of like because it was accident which I didn't anticipate in that time, and I was waiting for the treatment for the surgery, and in that time I was 20 something years old. Then that was definitely something putting me quite pessimistic and cautious about life. But yeah, I remember when I was in the hospital, a friend of mine, he came in and he said, "Oh well, you spent here a month and you go back to your normal life." And when I was in the hospital, I thought that's the end. But actually, that was true. You're getting through this rough patch in your life, and afterwards, if you recover, you can carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Do you have a book, a person, or an event that changed your life for the better?
To be honest, from this perspective, I wouldn't say it would be something connected with the pharmacy, but when we started thinking about owning some like a business and doing something with the medicines, we started some cooperation with the group of people with the company Sui Generis Health from United States, from Atlanta, from Georgia. And the guy in that time, he recommended me a book which is more like about the business, about the and creating some startups. It's the book called Zero to One by Peter Thiel. Is the same guy who was one of the co-founders of PayPal, and I think his newest thing now is company who's doing big data. They called Palantir. Palantir, if anyone is a fan of the Lord of the Rings, of the Tolkien stories, is the thing, kind of like a special, I don't know, glass or special ball, magic ball where you can see the future, you can see something, yeah, which is far ahead from you or is in a different continent or whatsoever. Yeah. But anyway, nice name for the company who is now, I think, on the stock exchange in the United States. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, so what did you learn from that book? What changed after you read it?
I think the changes of how you can implement certain things when you create the company, when you're creating something new in general, because the book is about the innovation and how to create innovation. Because it's called zero to one, then the guy is putting in the book that sometimes innovation is not always incremental. It's sometimes like or you can go forward completely and creating something new. Sometimes it could be incremental, but it needs to be this moment when you're starting something new in your life or you're starting enterprise or whatever, then You need to create the value. You need to create something which expand quite quickly, rapidly. I think is a way of talking as well of the guys who are from the Silicon Valley, which they've got a certain type of thinking about the work, about the job, and about the work. But I quite like it, and I quite enjoy this book, yeah, and gave me some ideas afterwards how
Oh,
to work and how to create the certain things. I think in the book what I like as well, artificial intelligence is coming, like to the pharmacy as well, like, and the people are afraid of it that they're gonna lose the jobs. Peter Thiel's idea is that it's not definitely we're gonna lose the jobs because the jobs would be still there. There would be like a co-working of people who would be judging by algorithm, by AI, and there would be still needs to have some like a human who would be like a judging if this description or these conclusions are right. Probably from the pharmacy point of view, or more maybe from the medicine's point of view, let's say you've got like some dermatologic issues on the skin, then already they are on the market like a certain things like algorithm, or you can have like a picture, and AI based system can tell you what kind of illness is that or what to do with that. And someone could say, oh yeah, in this sense we don't need a doctor, we don't need a pharmacist, we don't need any medical professional. And that's actually not true, because it's still that needs to be approved, that needs to be double checked by someone who got a medical experience. And even if the AI or even the system, the artificial intelligence would say, oh yeah, let's say is impetigo, the human being still needs to check and be sure that that's definitely what it is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I've heard about that story about artificial intelligence. I can't remember that could read scan better than a radiologist or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard the same, like then but I think it's like with the, I don't know, automatic cars, like without human driving them, autonomous cars. Then, yeah, in certain points, it's good to rely on the technology, but I think we still is like two worlds which they kind of like coexist and they can co-work. Then apart that, okay, if even the AI is maybe better than certain radiologists, it would be good if some radiologists would still check the results and be sure that everything's been done correctly. Yeah? Because at the end of the day, depend what kind of algorithm you put into the computer, you put into the system. Yeah, it's good to check the latest results. Yeah.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it's like in history when, for example, the cars took over from the horses and carriages. Everybody said, "Oh, what's going to happen? How we will survive without horses and carriages?" And then we moved on, and people adapted to the new way of transportation, and they found new jobs. The old jobs been replaced by new ones created by the new technology. So I don't think it's a problem for the future, to be honest.
I've got this same thinking, and from the medical perspective, I was reading recently that, for example, when they introduced like a pregnancy test, then when they were introduced, it was big outcry of the gynecologists who were saying, you cannot rely on some tests. You need to come to the room, I need to check you out and just say you are pregnant or not. And they were saying that, oh, no, this pregnancy test is a nonsense. And if we think now about that, well, still you going to gynecologist is coexist, because you need to have a double check and you'll be sure that you're pregnant. But if you say to someone who's buying the pregnancy test, oh, don't buy it, it's a ridiculous idea, don't believe in that, the people look at you, are you crazy? Like, because it's quite a normal thing nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Let's go back a little bit with what you said about the book and entrepreneurship and all that. How did you get to be an entrepreneur? I mean, everybody wants to be one. Everybody wants to create a business, but how do you start? Is it something you always wanted to do, or it was just an idea and you said, let's try it and see if something come out of it? How did you start?
Might try, because I failed a few times, I need to say. And in certain circles, they saying, if someone is saying that never failed in the business, it means probably never been in the business for quite a while. It was around the end of the union, and I talked with a friend who was a doctor, and we talked about that would be quite nice to start something connected with the medicines and in medical technology in general, because it was quite tough in the sense of the exams and everything during the uni. we didn't have a time, but that was probably the first idea of something like that. And probably to start something is as well like unless you've got like a rich uncle or rich family, you need to have enough money, to start or to try something. Yeah. And I think my first try was like a couple of probably 10 or 12 years ago. We've tried with two guys and we actually tried some business, but didn't work out. Then yeah, it took quite a while. Recently, I talked with a friend of mine, and he said to me that you probably fail because you try projects, business projects, which are quite difficult. Because in one point, we were trying to do the preclinical study for some drug with one pharmaceutical company. It took us all of the negotiations and talking. We talked with two universities as well about that. That took us, I think, like a 15 months. At the end, didn't work out. Then yeah, I think I still would love to go to this idea of any preclinical studies or something more complicated, more complex, because I'm quite keen on the science. But sometimes like a little bit connected something more with the sales, with the distribution is easier. Then that's the first business which probably we started like 2 or 3 years ago, which was maybe not successful, but at least we didn't fail. We still carry on, and yeah, we're selling some medical tests. We're dealing some with the medical devices, and then that's at the moment the situation, and hopefully we will be growing. We actually been on the few conferences and trade fairs recently. I've been on the pharma conference in Dubai a couple of weeks ago. I've been in one trade fair and conference actually a couple of days ago in Poznan in Poland. Visited many times like a Medica in Germany, in Düsseldorf, which is for medical devices, I think the biggest trade fair in the world. Then I think each time you kind of like a gaining experience, you're talking with the people. I think you need to be open, you need to be flexible, and yeah, not be afraid. Yeah, not be afraid to take some risk and to fail. Yeah, because failure sooner or later would come probably, but it's the way what you learn. Everyone is saying about this learning from failures. I know it's quite hard. Probably I'm not sure if I'm always learning from failures, but not to give up. Probably if you fail, try something different or try to accommodate or maybe or tweaking with what you're doing to get the better results. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what, people are saying that they don't have a brilliant idea, they don't have money, they don't have business partners. Do you need all these, or is it just excuses?
Well, nowadays you've got like a venture capitals and all sorts of money which they are somewhere there. But my experience with the venture capitals or with the big companies is not the best. Then I would say probably, but that's my experience. I know a few people who got really good experience with venture capitals or business angels. But from my experience, I probably prefer like an organic growth, that you starting something small, and when you getting some revenue, then you're getting bigger, and you're getting to the certain point, yeah, when you can probably approach the venture capitals or business angels or getting some business. Definitely finding the right persons. Money could be a problem, but sooner or later, I don't know. I don't want to say that like taking deposits from your house, because probably owning the house is quite a nice idea. But if you've got a quite good job as a professional, sooner or later, I think probably you've got enough money to start your own business if you want to. Because definitely you would be working more than you were working before. And you would be working sometimes what we call in England unsociable hours. Because sometimes you need to pick up the phone, I don't know, at 7 o'clock, maybe 10 o'clock in the evening. I remember once I worked with the one company and we were doing business between Belgium and United States. I was helping out with something, and the guy from Belgium, I set up the meeting conference call. I think it was because it was the west coast of United States. Then the only possible way it was 8 p.m. Belgian time, and the guy from Belgium, he said, "Oh, he's working up to 5." Then I thought, well, if you're working up to 5 p.m., then probably your business would never grow because like it's all right to work up to 5, but sometimes you need to be on the call at 8. I think it's as well finding that's another topic, but kind of like a balance between the work life and between your normal life. And definitely people I think they are the most important. First customers, business partners, people who help you, or people even who can be your mentors, or who can look at your business and say, oh, that's not gonna work. To be honest, if they say this, you can still try it, but at least it's nice to have the bunch of people who you can rely on, and then that's quite important as well. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go a little bit deeper into this because I think you're the first person who actually own their own business and you're an entrepreneur. And I never had the chance to ask these questions. So j- just humor me. If you can answer me, it's fine. If not, that's all right. It's no problem. So let's start with the first thing. So how do you open your own business? Do you have to be driven by something? Do you have to have a passion, or it can be just, oh, I'm thinking of opening a restaurant or whatever, just to have my own business?
That's my opinion, and I want to point this out quite openly, because maybe other people have got a different opinion. I like to be passionate about something. Then for me, opening the business to earn more money doesn't make a lot of sense, because sooner or later, yeah, you're gonna get this more money, and what? Then like I think you need to have a little bit of passion for whatever you want to do. Yeah, you want this extra money, fair enough, and you need to have a little bit of expertise in this field. It's not like that, oh, let's say I would open the restaurant, which I never had a restaurant and I never had an experience with the restaurant. Then for me it doesn't make sense. And I spoke once with the guy who owned the restaurant, and he said, if you ask someone on the street, probably one person out of 5 would say, if you ask, depend how you ask the question. If you ask the question, would you like to have your own restaurant? Probably one of 5 would say yes. But if you say, are you prepared to open? Or do you have a plan? That would be a different statistics. That would be probably 1 in 20, which would say, oh yeah, I was thinking about that. Then the guy said to me, he had like a Brazilian restaurant, and he said, oh yeah, everyone was envy. Oh, you've got a restaurant. But it's different when you run the business, and you've got all the troubles to run the business, and you look from let's say passenger seat, and you think, oh, the guy owned the restaurant, is so nice. But run the business on the daily basis, like, I don't know, doing invoices or things which sometimes you don't like, it takes time, it takes a lot of effort. But probably I would say, I think it's as well a little bit depend on your character, because I like to be a little bit independent, and I think that's probably something which help anyone who wants to start their own business. Because if you want to get every month the same amount of money, then and you want secure, and security is your main thing, I don't think you would be liking this insecurity of owning the business, when sometimes you are in debt, sometimes you up, sometimes you down. You need to have this like a character which allowed you to comprehend, or allowed you as well to take the risk. Because without this taking a risk, you won't be probably successful, because you need to take a risk sometimes, and it's not easy. But sometimes you've got like ups and downs. Sometimes you're really happy, something you've done, you earn some money, but you've done a good thing, then but sometimes you're down because you're in debt, and I don't know, you invested in something which is crap at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you're passionate about pharmacy, would you like to have your own pharmacy?
To be honest, I was thinking about that. Quite a lot of people ask me, why you're not opening your own pharmacy. I think during the uni years, I always was interested more in the industrial pharmacy, in general, in the pharma companies. Then I ended up somehow in community pharmacy, which I quite enjoyed. But I've done all sorts of courses. I don't know, like this independent prescribing recently, to do something new. And even like a couple of years ago, I think like 5 years ago, a friend of mine who owned a pharmacy in Yorkshire, he asked me, why are you not opening your own pharmacy? He even told me that he can help me out with the certain things. I don't know. I never been really interested to run this kind of business. I know it could be interesting, and I never know. Maybe in 10 years' time I change my mind and suddenly I open the pharmacy. But going back to what another guy told me once, I quite like a challenge. It is a challenge to have pharmacy, but I like different kind of challenge. Something, oh, if this pharmacy would be doing services which they never been done before, that would be something for me which I would be keen.
Yeah, great. Let me ask you about the other two sides of starting a business. Is it better to start on your own or to have some business partners? And how would you get these business partners? Would they be your friends or would they be strangers? Or how would you get them involved? What do you think?
To be honest, I went through a few different experiences with this topic, and I had many discussions through years. And from all of the discussions, the conclusion was the best is to have few business partners because they give you a, when you're down, they push you to go forwards. However, I would say from my experience and from another discussion with a good friend of mine who got his own company, it will be kind of like a combination. It's good to have a few business partners, but probably need to find a person who is the most driven about this business project. I would give this person probably the majority of the shares or whatever or stake in the company, and I would call this this person like a kind of like a captain. This person, if it will be disagreement in between the business partners, this person decides at the end. Because sometimes you can create the situation that the company is not moving forward because instead of going and trying new things, the people start discussing and this discussion can go forwards all the time, like and it's nothing happening. And like when I talked with this guy who owned the pharmacy, he owned himself, yeah, and I asked him once, you didn't want any take business partners, and he said no. He said, no, I prefer doing on my own. I know it'll be hard, but I can make up my own decisions quickly. I'll be faster than discussing with more people. But depend on what kind of business. I know in the something which we call like a med tech, like a combination of medicines and technology. Probably you won't be able to have a company on your own or own the business on your own. Then in this perspective, probably to have like a few business partners would be good. And if it be friends of yours, you probably lose them sooner or later. I never seen in my business life that you've got a friend and afterwards you've got a company, you're gonna fight about something sooner or later. Or unless what my friend who is a psychologist and got a company saying, if with the friend of yours you had a fight in the past, and after this fight, after this argument, you were able to conclude that you're still friends, you still carry on, then that's a good person to start the company. But if you never had an argument with a friend and you don't know how the person would react, don't start the company with this person. Because as soon as it would be argument, and this argument would come sooner or later about something, you don't know what to expect. Then you need to know how this person react in the argument. Then saying about the how to find these people, probably if the people got the same interest, I quite like sometimes conferences, or let's say you're meeting the people on the pharma conference, or you're meeting in the certain entrepreneurial clubs, or sometimes you've got like a startup community where you can meet the people, and if something clicks and if you've got similar ideas and similar projects and you can do something which can go forward, that's the main thing. It's good if you can agree at the beginning how the project would look like, more or less. And but yeah, being flexible all the way forward, because even if you agree on something, maybe in a year time would be the circumstances would be completely different. Yeah, then that's probably the reality. Yeah.
Yeah, you answered one of my questions. I knew that there was a saying, never do business with friends or something like that. So,
It's a nice idea because if you think about that, you like friends and you think, oh, it'd be nice because let's say you earn some money you've got like some extra money because of the company and because of the profit, and you're going for holidays together. Really nice. But the problem is starting when you've got the argument, and when the argument would getting quite harsh and rough, then how you gonna move forward. If you had the argument with this person before and you were right, that's fine. But if you never had an argument with this person, that could be complicated,
Yeah. Yeah. And now the last part of the question. I mean, the three-part question I've started here with the entrepreneurship. Where do you get the money? I mean, other than the fact that you said you save some money or you go to friends and relatives or go to the bank, where else can you find? You said something about venture capital and things like that, but if you have a small business, I don't think anyone will lend you money.
I was saying about this Peter Thiel, 0 to 1 book. He mentioned in this book, well, it's more like a Silicon Valley talking, but he mentioned 3F, which means family, friends, and fools. That's how you can get the money. Then, and probably fools are whole friends and family. Yeah? Then the guy is saying, like that, it's nice when you've got a rich uncle who can lend you some money. Yeah. I think probably is a quite good, like when we're talking about the business partners, if it's 2 or 3 people, probably everyone got some savings, then altogether you've got savings enough to start the business. And sometimes, that's absolutely enough because skills are quite important, maybe you've got a friend who is a lawyer, then altogether at least you don't need to pay for legal advice, and, then if you kind of all together got the skills who together would move you forward, that's really important. And in the sense of the money, you've got these steps if it's, to be honest, from the perspective of what depending on what kind of business do you want, if you want a business, something with the technology, you've got a lot of business angels. You just need to find them on the Google, you need to find them in your area, send them email, find them on the LinkedIn, or start a conversation with them, just show them what's your idea and where you are with this idea. If you are a little bit farther, you can ask as well like a venture capitals, you can ask sometimes local governments, you've got some funds for it, for a new business, they can give you like a loan for a small interest. If it will be something connected simple with the pharmacy, like I remember years ago, I know certain chains you can have they can give you some money when you own only partially ownership of the pharmacy. Then let's say if you're not sure you want to own pharmacy, maybe that's sometimes a good idea. Depend what's your strategy, but that's something to think about. That if you don't have enough money, then I don't know, you can talk with one of the chains. I don't want to let's say promote, but I know one small chain based in the south of England or London who was promoting themselves that they could give the money to the pharmacist and partially pay for the pharmacy. You paying some money and you own partially this pharmacy, yeah? Like a share ownership, yeah, something similar for the mortgages for the houses. I think for the venture capitals and business angels, most of the time they want from the guys who start the business, they want a business plan for sure, and they want the team. And when I've been on a few meetings with some conferences, they always saying, let's say the guys, I don't know, want to do, I don't know, a rocket for going to Mars or whatever. And they've got a team. Then they sometimes, if the team is strong enough, they sometimes see their idea is quite stupid. But if the team is a good bunch of people and they know what they're doing, they sometimes can pivot then. They can say, oh, don't do this rocket, do something like I don't know, whatever, but something more simple. And you've got already this qualification, how you can process this, and we give you the money for it. Then all of the meetings, I don't know, unless they lie, all of the venture capitals, they always saying the people are the most important. If it's a good group, and if the communication between is quite good one. I've been actually on few meetings with the venture capitals, and in one point they always want to know your team. Because probably from the beginning you're starting talking with them, you're talking what's your project, but in one point they ask you about the business plan, but they ask you how you want to do it, and you probably most of the project you cannot do yourself. Then you're saying, oh yeah, I've got a team, I've got like 2 friends, and we're gonna do this together. And for them to see if it's let's say in a good way the chemistry between the team, that you would be able to work together, They want to meet the team by video link or by whatever, yeah, but just to see if it's something there, yeah. Then yeah, the money is flowing, but it's just the case of finding the nice idea. All of the meetings of the startups, they saying, people sometimes think, oh, I've got a nice business idea, it's worth so much. No, it's worth zero. It's worth more when you start doing that. Just the idea is nothing. It's like sometimes I'm on a few different forums and the people saying, oh yeah, I've got this great idea, I want to sell it. And I'm thinking, 10 years ago I would think, oh, that's good, you know, you want to sell it, your idea probably is so good idea, yeah. Now I'm thinking the same as most of these guys, you know, again, if it's only the idea, if you don't have a plan, you don't even implement anything, you don't even start, in your own head you think it's worth, I don't know, 10k. It's actually worth zero. But from another perspective as well, it's good to, if you would be have a business partners or if you would be have employees, it's good to share kind of like a little bit of ownership. Then in this sense, because sometimes people are a little bit greedy in the sense they saying, let's say you've got two business partners, it's three of you, and you're saying that your business is worth, I don't know, £500,000. Then in your calculation, of course, yeah, because you don't have this money on your bank account. You're going to the VC and you're saying, oh, it's £500,000, yeah, and they're saying, oh, we want I don't know, 20% of your company, and we pay you so much, and you as a team, you say, no, we won't give you a 20% because it's £500,000, then we want this and this amount of the money. Actually, maybe in that point when you're just planning and you've got a business plan, your whole idea of the calculation estimation of £500,000,000 is worth zero, and 20% of zero is still zero. And it's better to give someone even 30% and someone invest in you, and you would have more money flowing than just, you know, like sometimes you need to share this. If you share 20%, 30% of the ownership, but at least you would have possibility of move forward far enough. It's better than, you know, like keep all of the future possible money. Like, oh, let's say someone say, oh yeah, in this year I would earn 200k, but I need something, yeah. Well, and I don't want to share this 200k with you because, yeah, I prefer doing this on my own. Well, probably it's better give someone else 50k. They would do certain part of the project. You earn 150k, but at least you earn it, and not you stop at the point when you're not doing anything for the future because at the end you fail somewhere. Yeah, that's at least my opinion. Yeah, on this subject. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So what have you learned from life so far?
It's a big question, yeah, but I would say keeping updated about the learning, because I think when I studied at the uni, our professors, our doctors who were giving the lectures, they were keeping us a little bit in the bubble. I would say they were saying, "Oh, you finished the pharmacy, the future is ahead of you, and that's it. You finish the degree, and you're already there, working 40 years, and you get retired." I think every year or every time in life, you need to learn. You need to get this skill to learn new things, because the new things always be coming. Don't being afraid of them, kind of like acknowledge them and just accommodate in your normal daily life. Yeah, and that would be something for me. Sometimes maybe not working too hard, because sometimes business or work life is important, but in the same time family and friends, and, you know, like to have some hobby, and, you know, like to have some like a free time, leisure time to do something different. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Do you have a favorite quote? You know, like a saying or like a principle of life or something that guides you?
I think I had the pharmacology with the guy at the uni, and he had this poster which I quite like, but I don't think it's good for a podcast. Well, I can say it, but because we talk a lot about the talking and in general about the people, and the guy had a poster, how to shit on people. In the sense, you know, like when I talked with him about that, it was sometimes we get involved in a certain situation in life that the people wants to manipulate us, or let's say you want to start your own business or own the pharmacy, and the people who surrounds you, they saying, instead of supporting you, they saying, no, you're gonna fail, no, you're gonna not make it. Then sometimes, in the sense, maybe not shit on the people, but in the sense, follow your guts and try it, because maybe in 5 or 10 years time you would be regretting. Try it. If you fail, you fail. It's life, it doesn't matter, but try it, at least in a few years time you think, well, at least I've tried. I didn't like it, for example, my friend came back now from United States, and I've been on the call with him, and he hasn't been for quite a while in West Coast, and his own experience, it was, for example, that was his own words, Los Angeles are not nice. And I said to him, would you go back there? And he said no. But at least now, no one, in his own words, he's saying, no one would tell me, oh, Los Angeles is the best place in the world. Then this same guy say, well, maybe it's the best place in the world for you because you've never been in different places, yeah? And depend on your perspective on life, he said to me one thing which I was laughing, we both laugh at least about that he was going to a few restaurants in San Francisco and Los Angeles, and not because of the COVID, but in the certain restaurants, not all of the tables were full, and the people were queuing, and he asked at the door, why is this situation? They said, oh yeah, because we don't have enough waitress, we don't have enough staff to open fully, to give the good service. And on the door of few of these restaurants, it was a sign, due to the global shortage of staff, we cannot fully open. And I laugh with the guy. What the global shortage? Come on. What are you talking about? It's like a little bit paranoia, but probably they wanted to give this excuse. Then, whoever lives there in this area, Bay Area, they think, oh, yeah, it's a global shortage of people. Oh, yeah, no one can work in these restaurants. Oh, yeah, we need to wait for 2 hours to get to the restaurant. Come on. And the same guy said, during the Trump, I'm not sure if the data is all right, but they decreased the people who could enter for working in the United States, I think, up to, I don't know, few thousands a year. Then afterwards, America, who was developed by immigrants partially, and you suddenly saying about the global shortage? Are you sure? Or you just not letting the people to go to work over there? Yeah, and that's. But yeah, it's a little bit off the topic. Yeah, I would say. Yeah.
Let's go back to your quote there, or to your poster. Let me see if I got it right. So it's not about stepping on people, or it's just saying no to naysayers. Is that right?
Yeah, it's about to getting advice from the people, but having your own mind. And if the people telling you to do something because they try to push you in the direction, always think what's your direction, because at the end of the day you're supposed to make decisions. Then if someone is telling you, I don't know, maybe tomorrow don't do this job, but if you like this job, do it, then don't take all of advice of the people too seriously. Don't be that, oh yeah, you need to do this because the general public is saying that's right. Maybe it's not right. Germans voted for Hitler in 1933, and if everyone voted for Hitler, do you need to vote for Hitler as well? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I got it. Yeah, it's very appropriate. So basically, make your own mind and take your own decisions and take advice, but in the end, it's your own decision if you want to, which way you want to go.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to add?
I think that would be everything. I'm glad that we had this conversation, and I'm happy that you invited me, and I hope that I didn't bore to death all of the people.
No, that was a great conversation. I really appreciate you coming to my podcast. Thank you so much. And maybe we can do this again in the future. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this conversation with you. So thank you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening. See you again next week. Bye.